the truth be told, they were very fortunate to win the division and get Ottawa. But if by chance they didn't and they played Florida in the first round, we'd be talking about a first round knockout.
And a lot of the teams you mentioned that they have played in the first round that have knocked them out, you talked about contenders, have gone to the Cup final. Like Tampa Bay, Boston, Florida. Like these teams that they're losing to are good teams. But that's what you're talking about is when you go up against the good ones, and you will in playoffs, that's when they're big games. That's when you're finding out if you can hang against the Cup contending teams. And boy, it's a definitive no. And because of that, we're going to have a week and summers long discussions about what changes and what it looks like to become that. Not to just assign blame, but find solutions and suggestions and figure this thing out.
What needs to change, boys?
It's not
easy,
a short list.
But like, if there's one element, if you could boil, what is it?
Yeah, go find some guys that know how to win.
Okay.
Not enough. Not nearly enough. And Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Willie and Morgan, like they're good hockey players, but they just don't know how to win this time of year.
See, even in that game, Tanev talking to McCabe or whatever is like, go forward. Let's go. Let's get up the ice. You can see him trying to like coax guys. Come on.
Yeah.
And you do see that frustration from guys who...
And fire in their belly a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go to Craig Berube on which team had it last night. Clip 3.
I think this team has fire. I mean, like I said, I can't explain right now, or do I want to? 5-7 at home. That's, it's obviously things that we got to look at and talk about as a organization.
There you go. He thinks they have fire. Like, I'm sure he sees.
Tell me, Sammy.
But no, like, I'm sure he sees.
Who's he talking about?
I mean, what? We got to look at it as an organization?
No. Fire.
Well, I think he's lying. I think he's probably protecting. I think he's probably, but like...
Who's the closest to having a spark?
I have no idea.
Like Domi, Lawton.
I guess. Sure.
Tanev, McCabe.
Yeah.
Benoit.
Yeah.
There's not a ton of guys.
The guys on the periphery. Which go ahead.
Yeah, I look at the way people talk for years about the way the Leafs salary cap is constructed. But you look at Lundell at $5 million and Lusterainen's in the 2s or 3s. They had Marchand kind of in that window. And you look at the guys in the 2s or 3s for the Leafs. David Kampf doesn't play in the playoffs. Calle Yarncroc, I called him an NPC, like a non-player character. He's just kind of the computer out there doing his thing. Domi's making 3.75. I know he had one big goal.
Scored a big one last night.
Yeah.
Got the building really excited.
I know.
For 30 seconds.
Domi's a little different from them because he's got a little of that spark. But the guys in that window are not Lundell and Lusterainen and Marchand. That's where the team is fundamentally different. Obviously, I didn't think Barkov killed him. I didn't think Tkachuk killed him.
No, but Barkov does kill you. It's by 1,000 cuts, but he gets you. And he's never in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he can settle that team 200 feet. And he's so good that he doesn't even think that he has to go out there and score a goal. He can just find ways to beat you, just being in the right place at the right time, either making a quick pass or moving the puck and getting everybody in place. I cannot tell you how impressed I am with this guy.
Listen, he's an unbelievable player. I think when we're talking about him, you end up talking about Matthews. And I think Matthews is a lot of those things. He's a lot of the things that aren't goals and a lot of the things you want to see. He just doesn't score the goals. He doesn't have the moments, but he does a lot of hockey things, face-offs, D-zone play, all that sort of stuff. That's great, but you're looking for more. Matthews has fallen short of expectations and is a part of the group that can't muster it in the big game.
He's the leader of it.
Yeah. Big disappointment for sure.
My God, yeah.
34.
But I think to your point about bringing in guys that know how to win and know are fiery or whatever, the Barkov-Matthews comparison is a very like apt one, where they have a bunch of hyenas and mutants around Barkov, but he's a quieter guy, doesn't take any penalties, good defensive zone.
Put them on their teams.
Yeah.
Is it that different?
That's right. Like, it's just, you have to like surround him with guys that are going to pull him into the fight, as opposed to surrounded with other guys who have the exact same sort of mentality as him.
Which in itself is a criticism of Matthews.
Totally.
But
Your first clip,
Yeah.
right, has maybe upset a few people.
Yeah. I'd say.
It belongs to Austin Matthews, and it's his comment about passengers. Let's have a listen.
I felt like we were ready to play. I felt like we were, in a good mindset. Like I said, I thought the first 10 minutes we didn't. They came out strong, and the next 10 minutes I thought we controlled play. And then I just thought we had too many passengers throughout the rest of the game and just weren't on the same page. And they get a couple goals and momentum like that, and then you're chasing the game, and it's hard to get it back. When you're down 3 against a good team that plays sound defensively like them.
So who's he talking about? What passengers?
I said to Sammy, he's not wrong. I just said there's no drivers. Like too many, sure, but it obviously includes him. You have 18 skating passengers and no driver. So, yes, it's too many, but when you're not a driver, tough to make the comment.
You're waiting at the bus stop for the guy to come out of the washroom.
Listen, the only
bus isn't
thing,
leaving.
the only thing out of his mouth should have said, "I'm the driver of this thing, and I didn't show up."
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Can't have passengers on a bus without a driver.
I don't even know that these
Why
guys
would you go
know.
there? Why would he go there?
Because I think he's just looking for crutch cliches to not say anything.
The thing that hurt me the most about that clip is the pause, right? But he's like, "Am I going to say this? Am I going to say this?" And then he's like, "Yeah," and then he says the P word, which it's like, it's talking about other teammates. You look at his bottom 6 or whatever, and they haven't scored any. Like, it's just something you don't say to me. It's just, it's a bad. And listen, what has been one of the biggest complaints about this era is the way that they've addressed these finishes, the way that they've taken no accountability, that the way they've, the entire organization has had this sense of arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the exact same, except for poor old John Tavares. I don't know if you saw John Tavares' postgame last night. Boys, I didn't even cut it because he thought Brady Tkachuk was sad. Like, oh my God, he was almost crying. Like, it was horrible. But the Matthews, Marner, neither of them have ever really been like, it's my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how far